Okay, welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode 133. So I'm reviewing the 134th episode of the anime, The Power to Read the Future. Yep. Now you may also notice that last week's one also was called 133. That's actually a typo. I'll correct it later. Excuse me a second. Excuse me, yes. Now this episode, no, it's not. It's not like my other anime where it adapts from manga. This episode does not adapt from original script. This episode picks up right where, like exactly where last week's episode left off. We have Urasaki having a battle with Jiraiya, Naruto, and Boruto. I mean, the battle goes pretty poorly, and of course Sasuke shows up to try to even the odds, just kind of like he did last week. But of course Jiraiya is still wounded, and they need to get away, so they do. Though also, Sasuke takes the time to grab Urasaki, while Jiraiya basically summons a toad and uses the tongue of the toad to take Boruto and Naruto away, while he pretty much tackles Urasaki off a freaking cliff into a stream. Yeah. And of course, Sakura is nearby. Yep, she pops up during this episode. She does something. Not much. I mean, you next see her dragging Sasuke out of the water, and then spends the rest of the episode healing him. Yep, that's all she does in the episode. She hears Urasaki briefly kind of talking to her, but without seeing her, and well, that's pretty much it for her. That's her contribution to this episode. Hearing Urasaki, seeing what was going on, saving Sasuke, and of course she doesn't know it's Sasuke, and healing him. That's her contribution to the whole episode. And of course you're thinking the whole time, why am I doing this? Probably because you want to get answers to that freaking letter you found that fell out of his pocket. As what the other three are up to, well, they pretty much avoid him, and of course Boruto spends about a minute being tied up to a freaking tree by a tongue. Yep. And of course, well, they had to figure out exactly what to do with him, so they come with an interesting plan. They come with the whole thing about reading the future thing. Of course, it's later deduced that he only sees about a few seconds in the future. This is now revealed to toward the end of the episode. So yeah, they come with a strategy to confront him. Of course, Boruto notices the blood on Jiraiya's uniform. It's like, blood. Interesting. And of course, well, they have a rematch with him. Second time to find in the episode. And of course, well, they get blood on him, and apparently heals pretty quickly. Yep, and of course, a bunch of shadow clones, no Rasengan at this point, nope. And then, of course, they get away after using a mud wall. Yep, a mud wall to get away. And, of course, they have sort of a strategy. Of course, they deduce that it's actually heat was responsible for this. And they also deduce that this whole time travel, the whole thing of seeing the future, yeah, they're thinking about, of course, they revealed a few minutes later. And apparently that particular attack was all Boruto's idea, just to figure out one of his weaknesses. Yeah, that was the whole point of basically wasting shadow clones. To find out a weakness he has. Okay. And then, of course, he uses a Byakugan, which, this is something I've been calling bullcrap on since, of course, the other member from the same clan he's from, where they both use Byakugan, and nobody points out to the fact that, hey, I know somebody with the same type of eyes too. Of course, Bart, hey, hey, my mom's got the same eyes you do. Never mentioned the entire series. Yes, they know he's got Byakugan, and he's also got Rasengan as well, which is blue. Yeah, as far as I can tell, normally a Rasengan I think it's how you pronounce it, usually it's purple, and has the ability to move space between time, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, as for the whole blue thing, yeah, they deduce in this episode that, of course, when they transform into a freaking stomach of the Great Toad from the Toad Mountain. Yep. Yeah, and it's like the Toad Mouthtrap. And of course, Naruto sends out a bunch of shadow clones to him. He's able to dodge them, and of course, this is when it deduced that, yeah, he only could see a few seconds in the future. Of course, he had also seen before he used the mud wall, he used the I think it was like the fire bomb and then the toad oil bomb, shooting fire at him and then shooting toad oil at him. Yeah, this is one thing about Jiraiya is never really explained. Like, okay, does he keep toad oil in his stomach? Yeah, as far as I can tell, this is of course never been explained in this series of why he has toad oil in him. In the case of the toads, yeah, it's explained why they have toad oil in them. And of course, twice in the episode, he uses a summoning jutsu. First to summon a toad, which I think this might be the same toad he used when he used his battle against Pain 2 years after this. Possibly, I don't know. And of course, well, they get some poison around him because despite that he's reading the future, he's rewinding back. He's able to avoid the poison inside of a toad's stomach. And he's able to he's very weakened, so they use a Boruto stream, which is the first time I could think of Boruto has used this damn thing. Let's see, the last time I could think of he used this thing was, he used it during the Ghost arc for like one episode. He used it during the Hidden Mist arc, and I think that's it. He's only used this move twice the whole series. But this is the first that I could personally think of he's used this move since the Hidden Mist arc. That was the last and the first time he's used it. I'm like, so it takes him almost 100 episodes to just use the damn move again. Why? I have no idea why. Though he calls it here a Naruto stream. A move that Naruto never uses either in the rest of the Naruto anime during the filler episodes or even during the entirety of Shippuden. Yeah, it's a move he never uses. The only moves he uses throughout the whole series is Shadow Clones, Rasengan Shuriken, and that's the only moves he uses throughout most of the series before it gets the Kiba mode and the Chakra mode. Before he gets all other two modes, including Sage Toad. Yeah, he only knows like 3 attacks the whole series. Bars knows several attacks. Yep. And of course, it's Naruto who basically lands a Rasengan right in the guy's belly, sending him flying look like a half a mile into a side of a freaking like mountain. And like, just like any kind of slasher villain, the episode ends on his right hand with his fingers twitching. Yeah, I kind of knew he was going to be moving because there's going to be another episode after this. Yep, where they are finally going to end this particular arc, because I've heard that this arc will officially end with the very next episode. This episode overall was okay. I think overall, despite the fact some people probably knew that the next episode will be the last one, this episode kind of felt as they kind of dragged their feet with this episode. The pacing was not very good. It wasn't as bad as, let's say, the Meets Against Parents arc. Now, the one thing I can at least got to praise this arc for is it's had really good pacing of this whole arc. This episode didn't really accomplish very much. I mean, you have Sasuke, who's done virtually almost nothing this whole arc. Yeah, you have him here, and yet he does nothing. That's a really bad thing about this time travel arc. I mean, this episode and the last one was the only time he did anything the whole arc. The guy has done virtually nothing the whole arc. The arc itself has not been disappointing so far, but I'm looking forward to the end of this particular arc. Yep. So yeah, not my favorite this episode. It's good, but I'm just looking forward to next week's episode, which is a final battle with this guy. Hopefully they kill this character off. I'm glad the fact they finally followed up with this character, because like prior to this particular arc, it seemed that though they only mentioned this guy was the episode that came before when he had Shikidai, was the episode of Shikidai got promoted to Chunin. Yeah, that was the first mention of him since the Chunin exam arc, because I think some people watching the show like, did the animators forget this character existed? Because clearly he was not killed or captured at the end of the Chunin exam arc, and here, now it finally does something with him, and it looks like possibly he might die in the next episode. It's possible because next episode is called like Final Battle. Yeah, Final decides about Orosaki. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be next week's episode. Okay. So yeah, that's it for Signal Review. My next thing we'll do next, when I get a chance to finish watching the episode, will be a review of the newest episode of Fire Force. Yep. But see you next to you. Bye.